Coming up on The Returned.
I lie down on the couch. Everything starts to get dark. I feel like I'm sinking into a hole. Sinking, and then blackness. And then boom.
Hi, and welcome to The Returned. The truth always follows you back. Hi, and welcome to The Returned, a place where we share near-death stories, out-of-body experiences, spiritual awakenings, signs from spirit, and the journeys of healers and lightworkers from around the world. Today, we sit with Branden Densmore, a near-death experiencer, speaker, and seeker whose encounters with death shattered the way he understood himself, his purpose, and reality. Branden, welcome to The Returned.
Thanks for having me here.
Oh, you're so very welcome. Before we get to the heart of our conversation today, I like to ground the audience in who you were before it all happened, what life was like for you back then, and if religion or spirituality played a role in your life or even in your upbringing.
Okay, so I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness by my mother, Melody, single mother. She moved away when she was pregnant with me to another state and had me and raised me there and converted to become a Jehovah's Witness. So I was raised in that religion. I think that really did shape like who I became, who I am. I have a lot of respect for the faith, although I rebelled against it when I was 14. I'm not a practicing Jehovah's Witness now, but I do have a lot of respect because it taught me a lot of values growing up, like don't steal, tell the truth, be good to other people, stuff like that. So I have a lot of respect for that and other religions too. Although I wouldn't call myself religious. I don't follow any particular, religious structure, but I'm more like spiritual. I have my own spiritual practice and relationship with God. So raised a Jehovah's Witness. Let's see. I did have some spiritual type experiences as a kid. So I'm not sure if it was my religious upbringing, or that I have this genetic factor on, why do some people have near-death experiences and others don't? Maybe it had something to do with my religious upbringing or a genetic thing because I did have some strange experiences as a kid. One, for instance, I'm not sure how old I was, maybe 3 or 4, but I woke up one night in absolute terror and it felt like hands were on my chest. My bed was shaking. Like these fingers were like digging into my ribs and shaking me, and I couldn't even barely speak. I was so scared and ended up calling out, Jehovah, help me. And at that instant, like everything stopped. My bed stopped shaking. Whatever it was gone. And I went and told my mom, like I got up out of bed, went into her room, told my mom that this thing happened. And it was like, oh, it's just a dream, nightmare. You can go back to sleep. But I'll tell you that in that moment, it felt very real. I also, as a kid had lucid dreams and a lot of strange things like that. But also I was raised like thinking about the Bible and the stories of Revelation. And like as a kid, I was thinking about the war in heaven and Archangel Michael and the Temple of Jerusalem. I just found all of that stuff absolutely like fascinating, and I would draw pictures as a kid of that kind of stuff. So let's see, my dad came into my life when I was like 7. He ended up showing back up, fought for custody, and won a custody battle where he would have me every other weekend. And that's how it was from about age 7 to like when I became an adult. So I'd go over there every other weekend. And my relationship with my dad was kind of, I don't know, he would almost treated me like an adult in a way. more of a friend. So I kind of lacked, I think, that guidance and having like that male role model in my life, which is what I'm trying to do now for my son, is to be that strong, masculine role model. But came back into my life, and I remember like one of my first memories of him was I was fishing, and for the first time ever fishing, and I'm in his boat, and I get a fish on the line, right? And then I just throw my fishing rod into the water. And he was like, "Oh, no, no." But that was just kind of a funny memory. But I think I had a really good childhood, a decent upbringing. My mom did the best that she could raising me alone. And, but that kind of, we were very close growing up, but that all kind of changed when I was 8. So what happened was, it was one of the weekends where I was going to go visit my dad. So he comes and picks me up, and we go over to one of his friends' houses, and they're there, and it's his friend and his wife and their son. And so I'm at their house, and I was 8, and their son must have been like 14 or 15. And we like instantly bonded. All day we were like doing really cool stuff. He showed me like we were catching frogs down at a little pond. He showed me like a shack in the woods. Like we were exploring places. He introduced me to fireworks, which I had never seen before. And he just really listened to me and made me feel special. Like, and in my mind, being an 8-year-old, like I was looking up to this guy, like, wow, he's amazing. This is my new best friend, and I'm having the time of my life. And so later that night, my dad and my stepmother are getting ready. They're going to go out with their friends to a party, and they're going to be gone all night. So they get ready and leave. And what actually ended up happening was I was sexually abused by this guy, and he like abused me all night, and they didn't come home for like till the next day. And I kept saying like, no, stop. He wouldn't. He was like very persistent and said that it was going to be a secret and we weren't going to tell anybody. And like at that, I don't know, it was just kind of painful to even talk about it still to this day. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's just the painful thing is like when somebody gets you to, you're 8 years old, and you want friends and you want to be accepted, and like somebody who's 14 that you look up to as this like really cool guy, and showing you all of these new things and getting you to like absolutely trust them, and you think they're the best person in the world, and then they just crush you like that. Um, so that happened. And recently in another interview, I said something that I had never said before to anyone, which was this was the first time that I'd ever had an erection. So I'll tell you why I'd never said that, because I thought that people would think that I somehow enjoyed it, or that I was like a homosexual or something, or and not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not like my sexual preference. Um, so I guess the shame of it, there was shame there, and I never told anybody until very recently. After this happened, my dad comes home and takes me back to my mother's, and I didn't speak for 3 days. So my mom finally got me to speak, and how she did it was she said, touch me on the shoulder if somebody touched you in a way that was inappropriate. And I touched her shoulder. So this was after 3 days of complete silence. She knew obviously that something was wrong. And she got me counselors and things, and I would speak with the counselors, but I was never able to like deal with the pain of this and the shame of it. Um, the religious like upbringing was very like sheltered as far as sexuality. You didn't have sex until you were married. If there was ever like a sex scene in a movie, my mom would always fast forward it. It wasn't something that we discussed. So I always like kept that in and never was able to speak about it with anyone. Counselors tried to get me to speak about it and I couldn't. So then in school, I would get bullied really bad by kids at school. And I don't know if it was because I was Jehovah's Witness. We didn't celebrate holidays. We didn't salute the flag. I was very, marked out as different from the other kids because I didn't participate in any extracurricular activities. And I was kind of a target of bullying. So that happened, which I think further eroded my self-esteem. And I desperately wanted friends. I wanted to fit in, and that just wasn't in the cards for me. And then at age 14, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease and juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. So Crohn's disease is basically inflammation of the intestine. It's like arthritis of the gut, basically. And it was very painful. So they put me on opiates. And what I noticed was that these opiates, I would take them and it would treat the physical pain. It would make that tolerable, but it would also treat my emotional pain. It would make me feel more comfortable in my own skin. Like I could go and talk to tears without feeling less than. It just made me happy. It made me more relaxed. And what ended up happening was I became completely dependent and my use kept progressing. Like it would become less effective at treating the pain. So they would give me a more powerful opiate. So it went from like Darvocet to Vicodin to oxycodone to methadone. Something that happened when I was 21 was I was in a fist fight and there was alcohol involved. It was over another girl, and I didn't know this at the time, but the guy was a 3rd-degree black belt and I'd been drinking. And he kicked me in the face with steel-toed boots. And I went to the doctor the next day and they said, hey, if that kick had a couple more pounds of pressure behind it, it would have gone into your brain. Like you would have been dead. So in that moment, I experienced total blackout. Like I experienced nothingness. And that made me question, like, who am I and where am I going? I dropped out in the 9th grade. I hated school. I hated the kids that would make fun of me. I didn't like the teachers. I rebelled against the religion that I was raised in, Jehovah's Witnesses. I was very rebellious, hung out with the wrong crowd. And then I was in this fight where I almost lost my life and I started questioning, like, why am I here? Where am I going? And I discovered that I had this belief, this like deep belief that I was stupid, that I was going to go nowhere in life and that I was just stupid. So I think that probably came from the bullying, but at that point, I had a lot of negativity and self-esteem issues and resentment, the whole 9 yards. But I zeroed in on that belief. I'm stupid. And I said, okay, I'm going to test this. Am I really stupid? And I went on a journey, and it's like an educational journey at that point where I went and got my GED, which is like a high school equivalency. I went to a community college, got an associate's degree, and then I won a full scholarship to go to Vassar College, where I graduated with a degree in philosophy. So, moral of that story is that we can have like beliefs that we really believe about ourselves that are true. We think they're true, but when you actually go out and test it, it's not. It's completely false. So that was like an eye opener for me.
Wow. So I just wrote a few notes here just before we get into the experience. I'm really sorry that that has happened to you. Um, there's actually no words that can actually help that feeling that you carry or carried inside of you from the abuse. And then to turn around and feel that much shame about yourself is really sad, isn't it?
I realized that my life was not really going anywhere and that my life was fragile at that point. Like I could die at any moment. So what am I even doing with my life, right?
Mhm. You had a very good upbringing with your parents, a good home life with your parents until the abuse, and then, the
Mhm.
medications. Now, did those play a huge role on why you felt the way you did?
Yeah, they masked like a deeper issue, which was like
Mhm.
the self-esteem issues, the negative self-talk, the beliefs about myself, like I'm stupid, I don't feel good enough, like not being worthy, I'm not smart enough, I'm not attractive enough. I want to be popular and I'm not. I want to fit in, have friends, but they're just not available. So you take this medicine and all of that would kind of quiet down.
Yeah. So, can you walk us into the moments leading up to the experience itself?
Yeah. So when I went on that educational journey, like I was on opiates the whole time. And at Vassar, I was at a party one time and they broke out some heroin. And the thing is like I said, this opiate dependency was progressing and getting worse and worse and worse. And I was in this constant cycle of taking too much of my medicine, and then the prescription would run out, and I'd go into these terrible withdrawals, like sweating, anxiety, all of those like problems in my life, the self-esteem, the negative self-talk, all of that would just amp up and get even worse. And it's like your life is just totally a mess. But then when you take the medicine, it quiets down and you feel normal and you can concentrate and you can do things that you enjoy. So I was in this cycle of running out of these prescriptions. Then I'd have to go and get somewhere, like whether or not it's prescription medicine or what I found out is that this heroin was really easy to get. You don't have to do a lot of it to feel good. And that's where I was introduced to it at Vassar. And when I came home, I had some friends that could get it too. And it was getting worse. Like I was doing more. I was spending all of my money, um, living in a cramped little apartment, no car, no job, um, surrounded by vultures, like people who said that they were my friend, but really weren't. They were just there I was very generous and they were there for the drugs and to take advantage of me. Um, And then one day, so I was in withdrawals for like 3 days and I couldn't take it anymore. Just sweating, uncomfortable in my own skin. A minute seemed like an eternity. And I was waiting for my dealer to show up. And finally he gets there and it's like time is standing still. I'm just like, when is this guy going to show up? Um, he finally gets there. He brings me some heroin and I pay him. He leaves. I'm at my mom's apartment. She's out in field service, which is what they call when they go door to door with the watchtower trying to introduce people to the religion. And I do the heroin, everything calms down, and it's like steam, like rolling off a hot lake in midsummer. Like all of that stress and the mental noise and the anxiety just kind of lifts off me as I do the drug. And it's like, oh, finally, I feel normal and good, and I can just be here with myself and not be in agony. And then the next thing I know, I lie down on the couch and then everything starts to get dark and I feel like I'm sinking into a hole, like sinking, 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 sinking. And then it's just like sinking and then blackness. And then boom, I'm like right next to my body, looking at my body on the couch. And this was the beginning of my second near-death experience. There I am, standing next to my dead body. and I'm looking at my body and I'm thinking, what was the point of my life? And I knew that I was dead, which is something that's kind of like baffling to me, is the normalcy of it. Like, it wasn't like it was weird or like strange. Like, oh my God, I'm dead. No, it was just like, I'm dead. And what was the point of my life? And I'm just looking at my body, thinking about how I was in that fight. I questioned the fact that I was stupid. And then I went on this educational journey and had that final achievement of graduating from bachelor with a philosophy degree, and different relationships that I had, and being molested, and all of these, like the opiates and all of that. Like, what was the point of it all? That's what I was thinking. And it's just like a normal thing too, which is weird. And then I became aware of this presence in the room, and it was like it was watching me. You know how like you can be somewhere and someone's looking at you and you just feel like somebody's looking at me, and you're like, what is that? It felt like that. There was a presence that was watching me. I was thinking about my life. What was the point? And then boom, it was like the holodeck of the Enterprise. I don't know if people watch Star Trek out there, but the holodeck in the Enterprise is like, the Enterprise is a starship, and they have this technology. It's called a holodeck, and you get inside of it and you tell it, oh, I want to be in New York City in the 1960s. And then everything changes around you. And all of a sudden, there's all these characters from the 1960s wearing 1960s clothes, speaking 1960s jargon. Then you can go anywhere, like to the moon, to another planet, in any point in time, ancient Egypt, whatever you want. But it was like that, very real. And I was shown two visions. The first one was like the life that I could have lived had I not died from heroin. And it was like, it would show me getting married, for instance. It was image after image after image after image. I was shown like getting married, falling in love, having children, all creating a business, working with others, making friends, experiencing financial independence, all of these like joys, these places that I would travel or could have traveled had I not died, the difference that I could have made in people's lives. And then after each image, it wasn't that I heard it, but it was like, that's not going to happen. I just felt that. Like I was shown an image, like for instance, of falling in love, and oh, that's not going to happen because you're dead. And then I was shown an image of having children and being in love with the children, and oh, that's not going to happen. One after another after another. The impact that I could have had in people's lives, that they were touched by my presence, like that their lives were helped in some way. That's not going to happen. And then the second thing I was shown, so after that all took place, it's like the holodeck of the Enterprise. I'm shown my funeral, and like all of these people there, my family, friends, the things that they were saying about me, and I could feel all of their emotions. And then I was shown like telephone conversations between people about me, or like in-person conversations that people were having, like at the Kingdom Hall, for instance, like the Jehovah's Witnesses that my mom knew or that I knew as a child, talking about, oh, Branden died, by the way. Yeah, it was a heroin overdose. Oh, it was, wow. And then the emotions that went along with that too. I could just feel them, feel the emotions. And then at the end of all of that, all of a sudden I'm in the room, right, where I was dead. And I'm kind of standing there. And by the way, this presence that whatever was watching me is there this whole time. And then, so all of a sudden I'm back in the room where I had overdosed, and my body's on the couch, and the face is like all discolored, like with pus, like dried pus running out of the mouth, and like all discolored, like lifeless, like a lifeless corpse. It was just dead with no life in it whatsoever. And my mom walks in from being out in field service, doing her work as a Jehovah's Witness. She comes home, she walks in, and she sees my body on the couch, and she runs over and looks at the body with the pus and the discolored face. And she says, "Oh my God, my baby, my little baby, my baby, my baby, no, God, my baby, my baby." And I could feel the emotions of it. And she had all of these pictures in her mind of me, like raising me as a little child, like giving birth to me, teaching me my first words, how to walk, making cookies with me on a snowy day. Like, and she has all of those pictures of me and the love that she has for me. And then there her baby is with pus running out of his mouth, dead. My baby. It was like I was her baby, and it was done. So, after this, I started thinking to myself, I can't die. This isn't happening. And I started begging, like, send me back, send me back. Like, I can't let this happen. I can't die like this. I'll do it, and I'll do whatever is necessary to overcome this drug addiction. I just can't be responsible for my mother, like the grief that this is, the effect that this is having on my mom. And then I heard a presence say, "Now your life is over and you wasted it." And that was just like the finishing blow. And I just begged, pleaded, send me back. And then next thing I know, I'm back in my body, gasping for breath.
You said that was your second NDE?
Yeah, the first one was when I was in that fist fight when I was 21.
Did you? Okay, and just before I get to any questions, just wondering if something happened in that one.
Interestingly, no. It was
Okay.
total blackness.
Okay.
But what it did
Mhm.
do is it made me realize that my life could be taken at any moment, and that my life is fragile. And it made me question, like, who am I and what am I doing?
Right. Wow. What you saw, I'm almost lost for words, to be honest. Um, I was almost in tears because I'm thinking about my sons, right? I have 2 sons. And,
It's sad when you think about it. Like, when you think about the mothers out there who are and have lost their children to anything but drugs too. Like, there's an epidemic, of opiate, fentanyl, and all of this stuff happening. But um, the toll that has on the mothers.
I was a single mother. It really hit home for me because that would be my absolute worst nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm just gonna start out with, why do you think this happened to you?
Hmm. I think it happened to me so that I could figure out a way to overcome the darkness and then be able to transmit that to other people.
Mhm. And you got to see a life review of everything you were never going to have. Basically, the way I took it was, if you continue on this path, you're not having any of
Yeah.
this. Do you agree with
Yes,
that? Yeah.
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. And then did that change your life from that point on?
It did. So what happened
Mhm.
directly after that is my mom came home from field service and we called a crisis hotline. And then I went to to the hospital for 7 days, and it was like a detox. So went through a 7-day detox, and it was so bad. I can't tell you like the hell of the withdrawals. For being on opiates that long, your brain just becomes totally used to it. That many years of opiate use, like I couldn't even tie my shoelaces. Like I couldn't write a sentence. Um, what it felt like was being like a piece of bacon, like being fried in a pan
Oof.
with no escape. So went through that. That was 7-day detox. Then I went into an intensive outpatient treatment, which I would go with a bunch of other guys who were in recovery and meet with them weekly to talk about recovery type stuff. A lot of them were like convicts or, um, people who had gotten in trouble, but it was drug related, or people who weren't involved in the law, or corrections, but were just recovering addicts, and did that for months. And then I was introduced to Alcoholics Anonymous, which I never was really an alcoholic. I mean, I would do drinking and stuff like that, but that wasn't really my forte. But I went to Alcoholics Anonymous and started learning about the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous and met a really good sponsor. He called himself a hard-nosed alcoholic, and he was very like by the book. Walked me through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I did those like with all my heart, like all in. And I'm lucky that I met Chad, my sponsor, because his attitude was, you don't take your time with the steps. Like a lot of people, alcoholics and addicts, will take years to go through the steps. He's like, no, it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. You need to get it done, because the sooner you do this, the sooner you're going to get some relief, because having that NDE didn't solve any of my problems. I still had the shame, the guilt, the resentment, the self-esteem issues, boundary issues, beliefs about money, that like negative thinking, all of that was still very much there. And I needed a solution. Like, how am I going to live substance free with all of this crap on the inside that it's been suppressing for years? So, and like in that NDE, I promised, send me back and I will do whatever is necessary to overcome this addiction. And that's what I had to do. I had to go all in, and I completed the steps in a matter of weeks. And that really started to help me big time. And it also gave me like a spiritual foundation, at which point I started kind of co-creating with God, and started working hand in hand with spirit in moving into this reality that I was shown during the NDE. Like I knew that I had a potential to get married, to have children, to help people. So I went all in, worked those steps, made a lot of progress, inner healing. And I'll tell you, like, it was not easy. Not at all.
I wouldn't imagine it was. It sounds like it was definitely hard, but it sounded like you were shown a way, you were shown a path, and you chose to take it. And it's like that, isn't it? We are shown something and we have free will, and we can go one way or we can go the other.
Absolutely.
And you actually were shown what you were not going to have.
Right. Yeah. I was shown like the potential, that I think we all
Mhm.
have. Like, I think that there's like a divine plan. And what I mean by that is it's like a seed, like an oak tree will produce a seed, right? And that seed has within it
Mhm.
the potential to become a giant oak tree, like a thriving tree. That's what I
Mhm.
mean by like the divine plan. Like we're meant to live um, in a dynamic, joyful way. And that's what I mean by the divine plan. Like it's within all of us that we all have this like potential to live um, a beneficial life.
I agree with you on the divine plan. Before I go that route, I would like to know who you think the presence was in the room with you.
So I've come to think that the presence in the room with me was actually my soul.
Oh,
So I think that we all
interesting.
have a part of us that exists higher in another, like, I don't know, dimension or realm. There's a part of us that survives beyond death, and it's here now. We have access to it, and we do access it. It's like us, but it's higher than our body, if you know what I mean. Um,
Mm.
I think that this, whatever it is, can um, isn't locked into like linear time, and it has
Okay.
knowledge and power far beyond what we do here on earth, but it is us, and it's directly connected to God or Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. So I think that's what it was.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Um, and when you said that you kind of, I don't know what the word was again, that you said was like Star Trek, you went
Hmm.
somewhere. Where is it that you went?
Yeah, like the holodeck. Um,
Yes, sorry about
no.
that. I'm not a Star Trek person. My boys are, but I'm not. But so you went somewhere that felt like you were going through this
Hmm.
holodeck,
Yeah, it was
right?
like in Star Trek, the holodeck is like a advanced technology that
Kind of like a time
well, it's
machine?
yeah, it's like a computer, like the Matrix,
Oh, okay.
and it
Okay.
creates whatever
Mhm.
reality you tell it to create. And you can, it's very
Okay.
real, it's very vivid, um, and it's all composed of light, like holograms. But you can interact with the holograms, and it's like this advanced technology, and that's what it was like. Like, I was transported
Mhm.
into all these different situations,
Oh, I
like
see. Okay.
transported to my funeral, for
Very
instance.
interesting.
Like everything would I would just dematerialize and then materialize into another scene or place, situation.
You know, there's something I feel eerie about seeing one's funeral. Now, when you say it, I feel like that's eerie, you know? I know it probably wasn't, but could you tell us, did you have any feelings at all in these? Like, were you feeling any deep regret, shame, or anything, or judgment while you were, say, at the funeral or seeing these life plans play out?
Um,
Or were you just a bystander watching
when I was
and probably
like
observing?
the future that I was shown that would not exist because I died. I felt like kind of sorrow and like, oh, I wish I could live that, like disappointment.
Mhm.
And then it was when I was shown like the effect that my death had on others. I could feel their emotions. It was more that,
Mm.
like I was shown what was happening and who was saying what and the emotion that was involved in all of it. Um, it was more experiential, I would say.
Do you think that this was your last chance? I'm just curious of this. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. I'm just curious if you feel like this was like you better change, or
No one's ever asked me that
had you ever
question.
gotten that feeling?
And
Sorry, you do not have to answer it if you
no,
don't
that's
want
okay.
to.
Probably. You know, that voice that I heard that said, now your life is over and you wasted it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was like, I didn't feel like, oh, ashamed at that point, or judged,
Mm-hmm.
but I did feel like I need to live. And, because I don't want to be responsible for creating that kind of pain and misery in the world. I think it was exactly what I needed to hear to turn things around for myself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, Branden, how did this experience change the way you show up in the world today?
Totally. Like I'm not the same person anymore that I was back then. And I'll tell you that it's taken, what is it? How many years has it been? 12 years since this has happened. It's been a progressive thing. The healing, it's been like one foot in front of the other foot, in front of the other foot. You don't know what the destination is going to be, or what life is going to throw at you, but you just take one step at a time, at a time, at a time. And it's cumulative. And, I mean, it's crazy. Like, I'm a totally different person now. I don't have that negative thinking anymore. The self-esteem issues are gone. A big part of that too was, forgiveness. Like, I went back and, in the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, forgave the person that molested me. So
Mm-hmm.
this whole thing has been a journey, and there's a lot of different components to it. It's been a journey, it's been an adventure, and the future that I was shown, that potential that I could have had I not died, like, I'm living that now.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing and baffling and mysterious. It's like, that divine plan that we were talking about before. It hasn't been easy. You We can't expect that, that our problems are going to solve themselves. There are solutions though, and you really, like, our decisions, one important decision can completely alter your whole life trajectory in a positive way.
The one, and God is not going to save your life. You have to do the work,
Right. Yeah.
right?
And,
Don't we have to do the work? Like, it's never easy. And while I'm just on that, the one thing you just said reminds me of something I have lived my life by for so long. And I always remember that if I change my mind, I'll change my life.
mhm.
And that's just something that is just stuck in me since I was a teenager. Um, that we are thought like, actually, do you feel that because you were able to see what your life would have been like, do you think you were able now to create that life by the thoughts? Do you know what I mean?
By the thoughts, say more.
So you were able to see your life, right? In your basically life review. You were able to see what was happening and what you weren't going to have. Okay. So then you came back to your body. Do you now think that you personally were able to create the life that you love and have today from seeing that?
I think that seeing that gave me a certain kind of strength, because I knew that, a better life was possible. And,
Mhm.
um, I took consistently the actions that were necessary to manifest it, with the help of other people,
Mm,
with the help of other people, and with the help of spirit too.
mhm.
Like, one of the main things I want to say is, like, we can't expect God to solve all our problems for us, and we can't expect that they're going to somehow solve themselves. So we have to take like courageous action in the face of fear and kind of walk with some faith that there's a lot of things I want to say, but like stop beating ourselves up. Like the self-criticism, you know, we judge ourselves so harshly and it's like there's so many things in the world, war, poverty, drugs, trauma, all of the stuff that can take us down, right? In life. And we don't need to be our own worst enemy on top of that. You know, we're divided inside, like with the fear, the shame, the guilt, the self-criticism, the negative thinking, the self-esteem issues, all of that. We're divided against ourselves, and we are become our own worst enemy when we need to learn how to become our own best friend. Like to be kind to ourselves, to say nice things to ourselves, to build ourselves up instead of tear ourselves down.
Absolutely, 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that. I tell you, your situation, your experience, it was phenomenal as far as I'm concerned. I know it wasn't probably so great for you, but there was a lot of learning in that
Yeah,
experience.
I'm grateful for it.
And now that
Hmm.
right? Okay. So that's what just I was just going to ask you because we talked about pre-planning prior to, and it just came to me. Do you think that you pre-planned those things to happen to you?
Uh, Perhaps. You know, that like the
Mhm.
soul, like, and it talks
Mhm.
about this stuff too in the Bible, that Christ is within, um, that there's a part of us that is connected to the divine. And if that's the case, if the divine knows everything, then yeah, right? Like it's all part of um, a higher plan that we can't even comprehend as humans. Um, so perhaps, although I wasn't told that in the NDE, you know, but we could speculate.
Sure,
Yeah.
why not? Right? Why not? I always like to look at things from a different light. Uh, just because you did change your life. So if you hadn't have had that NDE, you may not have changed your life. So sometimes I like to believe that these near death experiences are almost like activations. What do you think of that when I say that to you?
Yeah, it's like it was like a divine intervention.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm,
it was a divine intervention.
mhm.
We're loved, and I believe that there is a loving presence in this universe, and that it's supremely powerful, and that it's here to help us and to help co-create. But you know, we have to take personal responsibility and have the hard conversations and make the hard decisions and take the hard actions, right? With the help of, you know, the resources that are available to us from our relationship with spirit. Um, but I'll tell you, it's worth it. It's so worth it. Um, I have, you know, I went from nothing, like less than nothing almost. Um, Addicted to heroin, self-esteem issues, like the whole no friends, bad relationship with my family. That was all deteriorating to having, you know, plenty of money in the bank, like a house that I can call my own. I'm married to and in love with my wife. I have a 3.5-year-old son that I absolutely adore. Um, I've started a business and am financially successful. I'm helping people. I've made friendships. People have transformed their lives, and that this is coming from a guy that was considered stupid and was going to do nothing with his life, and he's just a heroin addicted, you know, nobody.
Oof, that gives me the chills when you say that.
It all came true, like
You
happily
know,
ever after.
it because you did it. Mhm.
Yeah, man. with the help of others and the help of spirit. And also like, I'm here to assist others too. That's key. Like, I don't take it for granted. I'm not going to take this for granted. I'm here to assist other people
Mhm.
to maybe come to some of the same discoveries that I've come to, and to help transform their lives too.
That's what's so important about these stories and all of them. It doesn't matter where you were at, where you're from. It's how you got there and then what you keep inside and what you discover and what you return to after. Having said that, I know that there is a lot of people out there that are stuck in regret, stuck in shame, stuck in uh, past choices. What would you say to someone that feels they wasted their life and missed their purpose?
Not too late. It's not too late. One decision can completely alter the course of your life and change everything. Grace is real, but we have to have courage in the face of fear, and stop beating ourselves up so much. Give yourself some credit where credit is due. You deserve a pat on the back for everything that you've been through.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Did this experience change the way you view hardship, suffering in this life?
Yeah, it's like this experience, even the molestation is serving a purpose at this point. Like, it was horrible, but it taught me deep, 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 profound forgiveness. You know what I mean? Like, it's taught me about this thing that I can now give to others to transform like this suffering into something better. Um, Sometimes suffering can serve a higher purpose, if that makes sense. It's kind of a hard pill to swallow sometimes. Not all of our suffering is can just be written off like, oh, it serves a higher purpose. Like, sometimes life hurts.
Where do you think we go when we die?
Another realm,
Mhm,
I don't think I don't really believe in nothing.
mhm,
Like, I think that that's probably a fantasy, that nothing is a fantasy. And I don't believe in meaninglessness either. But
mhm.
there's probably another realm or another state of existence that we go to. And like with my NDE, I wasn't shown really that. I wasn't shown heaven or
Mhm.
hell or any of the afterlife really. But I was shown that there is a consciousness that goes beyond death. So I don't think it all ends when we die, for sure.
Well, and it's interesting that you were standing beside your body,
Mm, standing beside myself,
right?
yeah.
Like, really think about that. Where was I standing? How would I have done that? When I think about that, when you said I was standing looking at my body. So if you could do that, do you think that others could do that to us too? Like a spirit, a loved one that passed on?
Yeah, for sure. hmm
Yeah.
I've actually had experiences like that too. I had a friend that overdosed.
Oh,
Yeah, I had a friend that overdosed, and she came to visit me after it happened. Yep,
wow.
it was very real,
And
very
did you see? How do you explain that
just,
in
I
your own
think
words, just your own
that we
opinion?
have a consciousness that goes beyond death.
Hmm.
And it's nothing really ends. Like, it just, everything is a continuance of something else.
Hmm. Did you have after effects after the NDE? Like, did you have any sensitivities or intuition or anything
Yeah, I
like
still
that?
have like stuff like that that happens, like intuitive feelings or knowingness about different things. I knew that COVID was going to happen before it happened. Weird
Mm.
stuff like that. Um, and I don't know if that's because of the NDE or if there's a genetic component. Like as a child, I had some strange experiences too. So maybe it's something that we all have within us that can be activated or at any given time.
Absolutely, I agree. I think that we all have abilities, in my personal opinion. I don't have any idea how we all turn them on, but I do feel that we do all have them. Do you fear death now?
Not really. No. The only
No?
thing that disturbs me about it is that I'd have to leave my son and wife.
Yeah, I think that's everyone, right? I think the same. Like, I think about it and I think, oh no, well, but I don't want to leave my children or my
Yeah.
husband, you know. But that bothers me. That really does. So, since your experience, you've become a completely different person. And you said that happened 12 years ago.
Yes.
And now, if someone would like to connect with
Hmm.
you, could you tell us about maybe your practices, teaching, services, offerings, published works, also where people can find and connect with you?
Sure. So you can connect with me. My name is Branden Densmore, Brandendensmore. Um, Coach Branden Densmore at Gmail. You can email me there. Find me on Facebook. Shoot me a instant message there. Um, and I do have a couple offerings. I created an ebook. It's free. It's called the Quantum Forgiveness Starter Kit that people can download. It's pretty unique. It's like a unique approach to forgiveness and shedding the past like a snake sheds its skin. So if that's something that you're interested in, check that out. I also have complimentary coaching sessions available for anybody who wants to have a conversation, get to know me better. Um, Reach out. I'm happy to talk. I'm here as a support for people. And what else? I think like I offer a really kind of safe presence for people. So like a regulated, safe, totally non-judgmental presence where someone can come and talk to me and be honest about where they are in their life without fear of judgment. And I've been through so many things, like people can feel free to share what they're really going through um, without being judged. Um, and then what I do is I work with people through coaching. I'm a certified spiritual coach, but I help them have the hard conversations that may need to be had or to make the hard decisions in life and kind of slow down a little bit and prioritize what needs to happen. Um, Help people break through overwhelm and so that they can really like live a better life, the kind of life that spirit intends for them. Basically, people who are maybe they're in a transitional period. Um,
Mhm.
they may be in recovery or in recovery, but they're going through some kind of significant issue right now. It might be divorce. People who feel like their life just isn't working anymore and they're fed up and they're really, I like working with people who are really ready to change. They're ready to really step into a new like life and to take action. I provide accountability and follow through and clarity, that kind of thing. But I only work with heart-centered people, like people who are genuinely good people. Uh, They're usually very
Wow.
spiritual, and they may or may not be religious.
Sounds wonderful. You're really making a difference out there, aren't you?
Thank you. I'm
You're welcome.
I'm putting the experience to work, and I'm trying to follow through on what I said I would do, to be given that second chance.
Hmm. Branden, everyone returns with a truth. What truth did you return with that you want humanity to know right now?
Okay. So there is a loving presence in the universe. I believe that it wants nothing but the best for us, but we can't expect that our life is going to just magically change without taking responsibility and taking action in the face of fear. Transformation and a more beneficial life is totally possible, but we have to have courage, and we're not alone. And the other thing is we need to stop beating ourselves up, self-criticizing ourselves, and give ourselves credit where credit is due. Give ourselves a pat on the back and learn how to become our own best friend instead of our own worst enemy. And when we do that, we become much more powerful, and we're in a much better position to walk the path that Spirit has laid out for us.
Branden, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to be here with us today. And I feel what makes this conversation so powerful is not even just the experience itself, but the mirror it actually holds up for all of us, reminding us that our lives matter more deeply than we even realize. So thank you for bringing your light, and thank you for bringing your truth to the returned today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. And to the audience, if there is any takeaway from this conversation, it may be this: your life is not measured by achievement, status, or what the world sees. Sometimes the deepest impact comes from the smallest choices, the quiet kindness, and the moments we almost overlook. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay open, stay curious, and keep returning to the truth within you.